In my never-ending quest to record better voiceover in a very challenging environment, I've recently added another plugin to my voiceover recording chain. I record my voiceovers here for these types of videos in my office, which if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that there are a couple major interstates just 200 yards from my window here. So a lot of that leaks into my office, about 40 dB A-weighted. It's significant. And my office is not very well treated otherwise as well, so I have a decent amount of reverb in here. I've previously been addressing that with just an expander, but expanders really can only treat the noise or reduce the noise in between words for the most part. So it helps an awful lot, but it's not perfect. But I recently started using the Noise Repellent plugin, and I'll hopefully provide a link for that. If you use this Noise Repellent plugin in addition to an expander, I'm finding I'm getting much better results here. So I'll run you through how I do this. Right here you see, oh, what are these guys doing? They're in the wrong place. Hang on just a second here. How'd that happen? Okay. So, what I have is an Ardour session in one channel, the top channel here. I have a mono track of voiceover with a decent amount of silence before it, where you'll hear just my room noise. And I've had that feeding into two buses, one called clean and one called processed. So that's just so during this instructional video, I can A/B between them and even diff them to hear the effects of my noise reduction. So the first thing I'll do here is to loop a range here that has both room noise by itself and voiceover, so you can hear what I'm dealing with. So no plugins turned on at this point. Capture the performance. Grab yourself a nice audio interface, plug in a microphone or a keyboard, add a track. I should say, during this video, I'm not going to mess with my monitoring levels. I'm not going to turn it up and down so you can hear the noise better. You should probably be listening to this on very good monitors or headphones, but you'll have to turn it up if you can't hear the noise. Just be careful when you do that. So what you should have heard there is during the bits before the voiceover, there's a lot of room noise there. And then that same room noise you can hear beneath my voiceover. So I want to try to address that in its entirety. So the first thing I'm going to do to help start up this noise repellent, I'm going to turn it on, and then I'm going to start, there was some weird noise there. Okay, turn the noise repellent on, and I'm going to loop just the noise section by itself, and I'm going to click on Learn Noise Profile. So as this is looping and I click on Learn Noise Profile, you're not going to hear anything yet. It's just setting its algorithm based on the type of noise. Then as soon as I click off that button, then you'll hear the noise reduction. So let's reset these, reset noise profile. Okay, so I'm going to start looping and learning. Okay, so when I knew it had run long enough to learn the noise profile, I clicked that off and you could hear the reduction. So next thing I want to do is I'm going to loop this noise loop here, and I'm going to A/B the noise repellent so you can hear the reduction happening. So I'm going to turn it off and then I'll A/B it on and off. Okay, so what you ought to hear there is a significant reduction in the noise, but you also are going to start hearing digital artifacts being introduced into the voiceover. And that's the repellent working. And I'm not an expert with this repellent yet, but the very first thing you need to learn once you start using it is to adjust your reduction amount. So I think the default here is at 10 dB. The more you reduce, the more dB you try to reduce the noise, the more artifacts you're going to hear. And that's just the nature of this algorithm. It's imperfect. So what I want to do here is, knowing that my goal is to not reduce the noise completely, I don't want digital silence. That doesn't sound good. but I want to reduce it significantly while not introducing much in terms of artifacts. But I also know that whatever reduction I'm doing here, I'm going to reduce a little bit more once I turn the expander on. So I have a little bit of leeway here. In other words, I don't have to be too aggressive with the repellent. So the next thing I'm going to do then is to loop the noise with the repellent on and adjust the reduction amount up and down so we can hear the higher amounts of reduction with their artifacts and the inverse. Okay, so what you should have heard if you have your headphones turned up loud enough is that when I went up around 24 dB, it really reduced the noise a lot, but it was very digital sounding. It sounded like, if you ever used like a DMR radio, it sounded like that type of artifact. We don't want that. So I've found, just from doing this before, in addition to my expander, that I want around 7 or 8 dB of reduction. So the next thing I want to do then is just to, knowing that that's about where I want to land from previous experience, I want to loop this noise section again and just see how much I'm reducing in real peak value here. So I'm going to reset my peak meter, which for this process channel is right here. It's at -infinity right now. So if I begin looping this with the noise repellent off, I should get a peak of around, I think 55. Let's try it. Yeah, for that section, noise repellent, or rather the noise without the repellent is about -55 dB. So I'm going to turn the repellent off, clear my peaks, and run the loop again. All right, so with the noise repellent, I'm at -59 dB. So I've reduced about 4 dB of noise. And I haven't introduced tons of artifacts. And again, once I bring the expander in, the artifacts you do here are going to be really, really down low. So they should be pretty good. So the next next thing to do then is to turn on the expander and try to tweak these settings. I already know pretty much where I want to land, so I won't go into the details too much. But suffice it to say that when you use something like an expander, it's like a gate in some respects, but the things you need to look out for are, once you hear the noise reduction, once it sounds good, what you don't want to do is to clip the beginnings or endings of words. You don't want to have clipping your breath in and out during a breath. It can sound very unnatural. My goal is most likely to leave the breaths in here. They're natural, and I don't need to take those out. So if I don't need to take them out, then that helps me, I think, a good deal. But I want to set the threshold, the ratio, the knee, the attack, and release all to get the noise reduction. Obviously, I want as much noise reduction as possible, but I want it to sound natural. So I'll tweak those and try to get this working. And I guess I should say that it's important to know which plugin comes first. I want the noise repellent first because I want it acting on the noise by itself. That's how it learns it from the profile. If you reduce the noise before you make it learn, then it's not going to be as accurate, I think. So I will turn the expander on now, and I'm going to loop the noise by itself again, just to try to tweak my expander settings. Okay, I think that's pretty close. Attack and release, you really need to adjust those while listening to voiceover because it'll affect that even more. So now I'm going to loop some voiceover bits here and see if I need to tweak this further to ensure that I'm not negatively affecting the voiceover itself. Capture the performance. Grab yourself a nice audio interface, plug in a microphone or a keyboard, add a track, press record, got it. Use what you've got. Import audio or MIDI from your hard drive or the Freesound database. Edit. The work to be done. Okay, and from experience, I know that a couple issues here. I always think my S's sound strange, and I think that if I adjust the expander poorly, it negatively affects my S's, make them sound even stranger. So I'm going to loop just an S that I've marked here. Performance, good 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 performance. So there you heard the effect of the release. So on that S, as it trails off, it was reducing it a bit too much if you turn the release down too slow. So I'm going to loop that again and just see if I can tweak it further. Performance, good 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 performance. Okay, I think that's pretty good. The next thing I want to address is breaths. So here I have a breath, and I don't mind reducing the breath a little bit. It's kind of hard to get it the perfect settings here, but I want them to be natural. So I'm going to loop a breath here, and this will get very redundant. But again, I'm going to adjust probably my attack and threshold just to make sure this breath sounds normal and not cut up. If you get your threshold right in the middle of the breath level, then you're going to be cutting it in very strange ways. So the attack time and the knee can help soften that. Got it. Use what 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 got it. Okay, I'm not going to call this perfect, but I like what I hear so far. The next thing, just a couple things left then, is to listen. I want to listen to the noise once again, because after I've tweaked for voiceover, I want to see if the noise still sounds decent by itself, just to hear. Because you will have gaps in between words, and if the noise is kind of coming up and down, triggering your expander, that could sound unnatural. So I'll do that first. That sounds pretty good. Next thing I want to do then is A-B between clean and processed. So I'm going to start this on clean soloed, and then I'll solo the processed instead. So then you'll be able to hear both the noise and the voiceover with and without processing. So again, starting clean. Capture the performance. Grab yourself a nice audio interface, plug in a microphone or a keyboard, add a track, press record. Capture the performance. Grab yourself a nice audio interface, plug in a microphone or a keyboard, add a track, press record. Okay, I think it's sounding pretty good. If you watched any of my other videos, one of the things I like to do is, if you're adding any processing, in addition to setting it by ear and A-Bing it to see how it compares to the original, I also like to play both of these clean and processed together with one of them polarity reversed. So that way, if, for example, we turn all the processing off, both of these buses are active with polarity reversed, you're not going to hear anything. It will null and you'll hear 0. So let's listen to that. So we heard nothing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the voiceover, looping that, and as it plays, I'm going to introduce first the noise repellent. So you're going to go from hearing nothing to hearing just the effect of the noise repellent. And then you're going to hear, I'm going to add the expander. So again, since the polarity is reversed, you're hearing really only the effects of these filters. So let's try that. From your hard drive or the Freesound database. Edit. The work to be done. Cut, move, stretch, copy, paste, Okay, so what you should have heard there is Noise Repellent by itself was what you're hearing taken out does have some artifacts in it, but that's unavoidable. But that doesn't matter. If you don't notice it in your process track by itself, that's okay. But then as soon as I added the expander, what you'll hear is the imperfect application of an expander is that it's going to be trimming the transients of my consonants a little bit at the beginnings of words. And also, what I really noticed there was that it was helping trim the reverb tail of my words. So I'm going to do the same test again. And just listen to the reverb tail once I turn the noise repellent and the ACE expander on. Track, press record, got it. Use what you've got. Import audio or MIDI from your hard drive or the free sound database. Edit. The work to be done. Okay, so I like the fact that it's helping reduce the reverb tail there. So let's just do the same thing again. I'm going to A/B then between clean and processed one last time to see if I like the results. Capture the performance. Grab yourself a nice audio interface, plug in a microphone or a keyboard, add a track, press record, got it. Use what you've got. Import audio or MIDI from your hard drive or the free sound database. Edit. The work to be done. Cut, move, stretch, copy, paste, delete, align, trim, crossfade, rename, snapshot, zoom, transpose, quantize, and swing. Okay, I like the results. It definitely sounds much better than the untreated, noisy voiceover. So the next thing I will do then is to just create some presets on my noise repellent and my expander. One of the things you have to be really careful on is if you create presets for either of these plugins, and it really applies to any type of noise reduction you're doing, if the interstate is suddenly less noisy here one day, then these presets are going to need to be tweaked. If it's more noisy, they'll need to be tweaked. It's not a set it and forget it type of thing. So that's just a caveat there. It's never-ending process, and it's very easy to think, well, I've got these presets set great for this room with this noise and this microphone, and then assume that's right, and then record some voiceover, then export it, and you hear some consonants that are clipped, or you hear a truck sound come through in a place where you don't want it. So never, as I said, it's not set it and forget it. But all that having been said, I'm pretty happy with the results.